We're rolling.
Before Will fucked this up, no, I'm just kidding, but back to it, I'm sorry.
Alright, so
tell us about yourself and your name.
once again, I'm Jay. The brand is Totally Stoned, and just to give you guys a good look, you can find me on IG under the same spelling, Totally, T-O-A-D. I know some people think it's like T-O-T-T, and it's just like, it's a wordplay thing. Yeah, if you don't see this logo, that's not me, because there's, some impersonators, so look for this specific logo. I'm a cannabis lifestyle brand. What I do is promote like the benefits, both the positives and the negatives when it comes to cannabis. I try to let people know how its medicinal effects, the potential psychoactive effects, how it can help with anxiety, depression, things of that nature. I even educate people on the negative effects, because I hate the myth that there's nothing negative with THC. Like, there is. It's not for everybody, and I recommend that people get to know themselves and how it affects them to know if it's for you or not. Just like all medicine isn't for everybody. Like, everybody can't take hydrocodones or something like that. You know what I mean?
For me, even through the worst, I've had a broken nose back in high school, had a concussion. They gave me my pain meds.
Yeah, me either. I don't care what I'm going through.
There was something you mentioned earlier that you, because we had to recut and bring back. You spoke on a location. What location on?
Oh yeah, so we have a wholesale smoke shop, Royal Smoke and Vapor off of Harry Hines. So we supply other shops in the area. I think we're like the second or third biggest wholesaler in the city. So a lot of smoke shops, they get their products through us. I'm going to be opening a smaller location at Red Lane Studios that'll be just accessible to the everyday public like us.
Absolutely.
I have the merch line coming soon. This is just one example. Shout out to Up Next Fest.
Shout out to TC.
Yeah, TC Up Next Fest, you know what I'm saying?
Tell me something. Where do we start? What was the beginning process of Totally Stoned? Where did the name come from?
All right. You asked me. We were speaking on it a bit earlier. Mm-hmm. So the way I ended up getting into the business, shout out Dizzy Wright. I actually met him last year, and I got to tell him this myself, which was a full circle moment for me, and it really made me happy. Back when I was like a young stoner and still trying to I was graduating college, trying to figure my life out, what I wanted to do, listening to his mixtape, State of Mind, and he's just rapping, turn your passion into your paycheck, and I'm smoking and I'm thinking man, what's something I'm really passionate about? Because, I had options. I thought I wanted to be a psychiatrist, I thought I wanted to be a lawyer, but I found I didn't really have a strong passion for those things. It was not enough to go through all this school. I love it, but not enough to do all the years of schooling that you have to do to get into those careers. And so I was just what am I passionate about? And cannabis was something that I found I was passionate about. I was staying with my aunt at the time for about a year while I finished my last year of school. And she's huge stoner, but she's older, way older. She used to smoke that 70s type of weed, you know what I'm saying? So
they said there used to be some dope though.
No, it was. The weed today is not the weed back then. People will talk down on the weed back then, but honestly, I think the weed back then was so much better than it is today. Today, I don't know, they're just doing too much to it today. Back then, you would smoke and you would just have the giggles all day, and it was just the best shit ever. He used to get those real euphoric type highs, whereas today, I don't know what they're doing to it, but I don't giggle like I used to.
I'm sure you know more than my assumption, but I think it's a science to it. I think we have so many people kind of with these creative ideas that we want to now play with. Now that we have the information, we have the technology, kind of like you said.
I miss the day when you had the pure strains, when you had the white widows, the white rhinos, you knew the bubba, you know what I'm saying? You knew exactly what you were getting. But yeah, so I used to even, kind of experiment with her, because she likes not Reggie, but corn. She likes the low grade kush. You know what I'm saying? She doesn't want nothing too strong.
She understands her high. And that's what a lot of us don't understand either, is our need of high.
Yeah, so what I used to do was, I would buy some premium kush.
Okay.
And I would mix it in and roll it for her. And she would be like, it's the same stuff. Like it didn't make a difference if you were buying like corn or
Right.
you know like a premium.
But
stuff.
you know
I knew. So I would roll her a joint of like my pack,
Well,
but I wouldn't tell her. I would let her think it was her pack and let her smoke it. She would be out. She.
how old were you?
This was when I was like maybe 22, 23,
Okay.
and she's like in her 60s, and she's just like, you know, I would sit where, this is when I worked the night shift, so I would come home in the mornings and like smoke with her, because she would get up early in the morning, and I would smoke with her before I would lay down, and we'd watch a little TV together, and so yeah, like she wouldn't even make it through her morning shows. I used to think that was the funniest thing at the time.
Oh, just one joint.
Yeah, she would be thinking it's hers, and she'd be thinking that she just got like an extra good
Man,
pack from her dude that time. And I'm like, yeah, see, you think what we're smoking is the same stuff, but it's not. But in any case, to bring it back to the original point, I just realized I had a passion for like cannabis, and so I decided to. That was like the same year they were legalizing in Cali and in Colorado, and so because of that, I was like, well. Now this is a real viable career. It's not a street thing. Like you can really go open up a store and do this, and you can help people. Like I can help people. I can bring this medicine to people. And so I decided that's what I really wanted to do. And so I came to Texas, and you know, as we were discussing earlier, I do believe that eventually, on a federal level, they're going to legalize it. And I realized that with Colorado. They were letting people into the market who were already kind of in the market.
Right.
Like you couldn't be a person such as like me yourself, and you're just coming off the street, and you're just like, oh, it's legal now? Yeah, let me open up a shop. They said, nah.
Why couldn't you?
You had to already have a license.
Understood.
That was their thing.
And what was the whole you mentioned to me?
So there were people who were already operating on the medical, because there were several states that had, you know, medical cannabis available already. So if you were already in the medical market, you had an entire 2-year window to get ahead in the recreational market. And that's a huge head start. Huge head start. Absolutely. So anybody else who wanted to come
in halftime, I'm just heading into the game.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So it's just like, I felt like for any state that I settled down in, I wanted to get ahead of the curve because I already see how they're going to do it. Even in Texas, like Texas, even though people think that Texas is never going to legalize, eventually everybody's going to legalize. And that's what we have to realize. Eventually, we are going to get the federal approval. And when we get that, you want to be ready. There's all types of legal things, even in Texas, that you could be doing to put yourself in position. There are legal cannabinoids that can be sold. I named some of them to you earlier, such as Delta 8, such as THC-A, such as THC-O. And these are legal loopholes that you can use to sell cannabis, because you know cannabis has like hundreds of cannabinoids.
Hold on, man. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but because I'm for me, I'm a student right now.
I know I'm like info.
No, you're fine. No, you're fine. Because I want to stay on. We're gonna get into that as well. I want to stay on that topic of the start of the process because, like you said, one, if you're just coming into the game, it's a 2-year process of having to wait.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing to get certifications, getting licensing, or is it just waiting for them to send you a?
Yeah, so you couldn't even get a license for at least 2 years. Like you weren't allowed to even apply for a license until the 2-year mark.
So 2 years pass by,
and then you can come in and you can apply for your
Tell
license.
us about your journey.
Yeah,
2 years start. Oh, well, how about this? Do that 2 years. Is there research you're doing? I mean, what are you?
You should be doing your research. Absolutely. So right now, like let's just use Texas as our example because that's where we're based at the moment. So right now, what you could be doing is getting your proper hemp licensure. So you could be getting your licenses to sell legal hemp. You can, and that allows you to sell the other cannabinoids that I was just mentioning, such as Delta 8, the THC-A, and things of that nature. And by you having the licenses for that, that's going to first, you're going to have the knowledge of the legal workings of things already, and then you're going to already have a storefront, you know what I'm saying? So, because this is what the medical community in Colorado had. You already kind of knew the red tape that you were dealing with, you already had your storefront, you kind of already knew the operational procedures because you were doing it on the medical side. Now, all you had to do was flip it to apply it to the recreational side too, and just comply with those recreational red tape. So by doing that with the hemp here in Texas, you're already putting yourself in position to, once they do legalize, you can then flip that into a recreational market, and then you can bring in, you know, the regular Delta 9 THC products as well.
I got a question a little bit, not necessarily off topic, but me listening to you, I mean, where does this focus of planning come from?
I mean,
I'm just
the
kidding.
passion for it. Like,
Understand?
you can't half-ass anything. It doesn't matter how easy it seems. Like, you're not going to become a pro sports player, like, if you're not putting in the dedication to your craft. Like, anybody can tell you Kobe's regiment, LeBron's regiment, Tom Brady's regiment. Like, one of the things that people are going to speak about when they speak on these people, Serena Williams, you know, is their dedication to the craft. Simone Biles, you know what I mean? Like, they're really putting in the out. Like, you see what they're doing on the court, you know what I'm saying? And because they're so good, they make it look so effortless.
Right.
Like, oh, I can do this. No, you can't. If you're not, what you don't see is what they're doing off the court. Like, all the hours that they're putting in. So this is the same thing. You have to put the time in to do the research to really learn the industry that you're trying to be a part of. Because if you don't learn it, like, you can't navigate it. That's like being at sea and you don't have a compass to lead you anywhere. You know, like, you got to put that work in, that time in. They say it takes 100 hours to get, you know, to become like an expert at anything. And you have to be willing to put in those hours.
You gotta be mad.
Yeah, like, there's no shortcuts.
You
There's
gotta
no
be able
way
to get
around
100
it.
shots just for that one game. You know?
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Tell me this shit now, get into it. What is the cannabis culture like on the business end? Is there a lot of women in that industry?
In my opinion, no. And that is something that I look to change. I do know of a couple all-women cannabis collectives.
And shout them out for me. We need the love, if you don't mind. I know we here for Totally Stone. We all here for Totally Stone. But you know, like you said, it's
I'm not gonna lie, I don't remember that.
Well, never mind. It's okay if we don't remember that. But shout out to those who are, because again,
Yes,
that's what
shout out to all the women in cannabis that are making it happen.
Mother Earth, shout out Mother. I do know. I see a lot of her content. Again, I've seen her speak on the product and different. A lot of informational walks as far as just through her content she does make with Mother Earth. Shout out to her. Back to what you were saying.
And so, yeah, I would love to start like a cannabis collective of my own where it brings in more people of color, more women, because I feel like in this industry, people of color have been the most disadvantaged, you know, because now that it's becoming legal, they're letting like these non-people.
2 years, imagine a lot of as far as in business.
You know what I'm saying? Like, how many people have been jailed for just like, they have segments on the news now about pop moms or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And it's like these, like, you know, no offense to anybody of any race, you know, we're inclusive of everybody, but just speaking to real disparities that are out there.
Absolutely.
Like these, you know, white women that'll be on the news and like they're becoming like the face of cannabis, and it's just like, oh yeah, we're just moms who smoke, but a little black woman or a woman of color be doing that same thing, and she's called ghetto and, you know, all types of other derogatory type names, locked up, jailed. These black men have been jailed for possessing like grams of weed, like not even pounds, but literal just grams of weed, and are doing these extensive, you know, amounts of times behind it, 5, 10, 15 years. Over a little 3-5, and it's just like, but you know, you have this other dude who has his parents that endowed him with a little gift.
Absolutely.
And it's just like, oh, okay, well, because he comes from generational wealth, and he can go buy these expensive licenses because they price these licenses to let these, you know, the rich in. Basically, these corporations are able to come in and capitalize off this stuff before the people who have been pioneering this industry, whether it had been on the illegal side or not. These are the true pioneers of this industry, and they should be the first in line. And shout out to Cali, because they do have a program for to help people who were previously incarcerated, that once they are out, to help them get their licensure to start their own cannabis company. So big respect to them for doing that. I think there should be more programs like in New York and everywhere where everybody, if you're in jail for a non-violent like cannabis charge, that should be expunged from your record. You should be released immediately. That should be expunged from your record, and they should put you in. There should be a program to put you in a position to then do it legally. Like,
I'm just curious. There's so many topics I want to get to. I mean, none of us are officers here, but I mean, with just understanding the product from your perspective, what should be like the process of being pulled over, smelling?
I don't believe anybody should be harassed for cannabis, truthfully. Like, the same. Okay, actually, let me walk that back just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Because I want to put one little caveat in there. The same way that you regulate alcohol consumption, cannabis should be regulated in a similar manner.
I understand.
I think the rules they need to come up with some type of system where you can kind of gauge the amount of cannabis in somebody's system. Because I'm gonna say, depending on how you consume it, it can affect the way it affects you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, let's say I were to smoke a little joint or something. I'm probably not that impaired just off of that alone. You know what I'm saying? Now, let's say I take an edible. Let's say I took a little too much. Then you can absolutely be impaired. You know what I'm saying? And there should be a way for them to gauge that. Because, you know, with alcohol consumption, you're good up to 0.08, right? So with cannabis, it should be something similar. If we could come up with some type of method for that where we can gauge the amount, and if you're over a certain amount, it could be a ticket. You know what I mean?
I guess that's where the problem maybe comes from. Now let me play devil's advocate, and I am a weed smoker. But maybe that's where the problem comes in from, that there isn't a way you can gauge it.
Right. So,
okay.
I mean...
Because like you said, I do believe that how people say there's no negatives, I do believe in a sense there is a such thing as maybe I'm too high.
No, for sure.
Because I've been too high.
I was about to say, I've experienced it, so I know for a fact there's a such thing. I've had edibles, and depending on what you put in those, they can really... I've gotten sick, like physically ill.
I was shooting lasers one time, but not sick.
I know somebody that put distillate in some Roundup. So here's an interesting fact that I found out afterwards. Chocolate actually enhances the effects of cannabis. So if you mix it with chocolate, it gives you get higher, basically.
Okay. So
this particular person, for whatever reason, decided that the best thing to do was to take some distillate, which, mind you, is a extremely concentrated form of cannabis, like 96% plus THC, and poured it in these brownie mix. Didn't even measure it, didn't regulate it in any way.
This is your experience.
This was my experience. They just poured it in here. I had no idea. I ate, I swear, the tiniest corner of this brownie. I split it. Like, it was one brownie, and I split it with me and some friends. And I just ate a little corner of it. When I tell you, within an hour, I was so violently sick. Like, I was literally throwing up, and I could not function. Like, mind you, I was at work. Like, not like a corporate job, but, you know, like, I'm in a setting where I'm trying to, like, sell some like trays and things of that nature, you know.
You really high out your fucking mind.
I couldn't function. I couldn't drive. Like, that's what I mean when I put that caveat in there. Like, if you were feeling the way I was feeling, there's absolutely no way in hell you should be operating a motor vehicle. You know what I'm saying? I had to, like, thankfully my friend was there and he looked out for me, and I had to go sit in his car and take a nap until I could recover.
That's how it would have been me there before though. But let's go into that. Now that we're kind of talking about the in-depth of certain cannabinoids, can you break down a few of these Delta 9s, these Delta 10s? So
cannabis actually contains like hundreds of cannabinoids, and a few of those is like you mentioned, Delta 9, Delta 8. They do actually have a Delta 10. You have THCA, THCO. It's just a variety of different cannabinoids that have always existed within cannabis, but we're just now becoming educated on. Because, you know, I can tell you back when I was 23, I had no idea that these things existed. But as the market has grown and expanded, you know, and more information has come out about it, more research has been done, and so now we know more about it than what we did even 10 years ago. And so those cannabinoids offer a legal loophole to the whole illegality of it all, because technically it is the Delta 9 THC which is considered illegal across the board. And one way to get into the legal market, in my opinion, probably the best way at this point, is to get into the Delta 8s, the THCAs, and push that.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Because you can have that in a smoke shop. Now, of course, you still need to get your, like I say, your hip licensing and things of that nature. You need to keep, dot all your I's, cross all your T's.
Is that a simple process, doing those licensing?
In my opinion, nothing is ever a simple process.
Okay.
But if it's something that you're truly passionate about, you're gonna stick with it. I recommend everybody just take it a step at a time.
Okay.
That's all you can do. Like, LeBron wasn't, Steph wasn't hitting those half-court threes just off the rip like he had to.
Well, for me, I'm also asking because let's just say, and then we're gonna get back into the different cannabinoids as well. But what would be that first step as far as going smoke shop route, Delta 8, Delta 9? What would be my first step that I would need to do?
I would recommend getting your hip licensing first. I mean, you can open your smoke shop because you don't have to have those things in it at first. You can open a smoke shop with just, your water pipes, your, smoking trays, your merch accessories, and things of that nature. So you can do it in the order. You can either start off with your shop and have just like your basic necessities in there, your stash jars, things of that nature, and then work towards your hemp licensure while you have that store
with the
set.
hemp license, that'll kind of put you online.
Yeah, so once you get your hemp licensure, that's when you can start adding in products like your cake, vapes, and all of that type of things of that nature, like your edibles and stuff like that. Whereas legal edibles, legal vape cartridges, legal, such and such. You know what I mean? So it's more of a chicken or the egg type situation. Like, which do you prefer to have first?
Do you have a certain cannabinoid that you prefer?
The regular one.
No, absolutely not. Something is here as well.
The OG cannabinoid.
A lot of smoke shops. Y'all are their main distributor. Are you a grower for self, or do y'all have a grower part of the Totally Stone brand?
Oh yeah, so I actually do have a couple of growers. I have one in Oklahoma. I have a couple more in Cali, Grass Valley, and Mendocino. We don't supply anything like locally out here. Those are for the legal markets. But yeah, we do have those available. As a matter of fact, we spoke on Mother Earth. She's actually came and toured she toured our Oklahoma grow before.
Okay.
Yeah, so some of her content you will actually be able to see
at your location.
Yeah, at our location at
I may have seen already, if I'm not mistaken, since I've seen a lot of her work. Is the process of growing these different cannabinoids different? Or is it just extracting those cannabinoids out the?
Yeah.
Okay.
So more so extracting it. Well, in the sense that it's like you're going to grow the plant just the same, but you breed it differently. Like just like how you could breed a plant to where it has a very low THC content and a very high CBD content is the same way. Like you would breed them to where like the Delta 9 content is low, but these other cannabinoids are higher.
Absolutely.
Because legally that's what they're looking at, the percentage of Delta 9 THC, and it has to be below a certain amount to be considered legal.
I always wondered that. How do you get the idea of 19% THC, 28% THC? How do you get these percentages?
They have a testing procedure for that.
I thought motherfuckers just smoking it like this a 19. Yeah, it's a 19. Now they right here, this 28.
And back in the day, it never used to even be that high. So I don't always think higher is better in my opinion, because there are strains that I smoked that were supposedly 30% THC, and I like the 20% THC way better. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's all really relative, truthfully.
You got to smoke yourself, find what you like.
Because people like different. I see what you're about to ask, and it goes along with what I was about to say. People like different things. Some people like indicas, some people like sativa or hybrids. Like my husband, for instance, he takes his thing is terpenes. He wants, because the terpenes is what contains like the flavor, and that's going to be like the smells. When you open a bag, you're like, ooh, you know what I'm saying? You're just like, yeah, I love that. That's the terpenes. And some people don't really cure the plant right, and they lose a lot of the smell off of it. So it might look really good, like it's super frosty, beautiful, like magazine picturesque type thing, but the nasal isn't there. And it's because they didn't really cure right, dry right.
Which I don't know about it, but it'd be a lot of them bags who got the look, but only smelling shit.
And see, he's the type of person where he loves to taste. If he can't taste it, then he doesn't like it. It doesn't matter.
If you don't got no nose, the taste probably ain't gonna be there either. Is what you're saying.
Exactly.
I understand. Now.
Because I shout out to Cannabis, Compound Chris, who grows for, not Compound, Connected Chris. He grows for Connected. And his weed is top notch. I don't know.
And I was going to get into that as well, but go ahead.
Man, he's like the best grower I know. Like, you know that scene in Willy Wonka, like, where there's like, the snowberries taste like snowberries. Like, I tasted.
He got ice cream cake, it tastes like ice cream cake.
Bro, the blueberry was tasting like blueberry.
Yeah.
It blew my mind.
You said who, Compound?
No, actually Connected Chris. He grows for Connected Chris.
Okay.
They used to work with cookies.
Okay, that's what it is. He know the recipe.
Yes,
He know the recipe.
like he used to they used to work together, and he grows for Connected, and yeah,
and
his strains really taste whatever the name is. If he says it's blueberry, it really tastes like blueberries.
I mean, and this is kind of, you may have just answered already, but I'm gonna still ask it because it can maybe open up. Is there a favorite grower or just a favorite strain you have?
My favorite strain is Bubba. Bubba Bush.
Okay.
I love it. Platinum Bubba, Purple Bubba. You telling me that it's crossed with Bubba, I'm fucking with it.
I got you.
He's my favorite grower, hands down.
Hands down?
Yeah, because I've never smoked strains where they were just so on point with the flavor, like.
And then I'm sure with you, consistency.
Yeah, the consistency. Like, he just, in my opinion, he's just one of the best growers.
Are you a paper or a backwood? What you smoking out of?
I evolve. It switches. When I'm in my early 20s, I was straight pipes, glass. I was all, glass pipes or bongs. In my opinion, that's the best way to smoke because you're not adding anything extra into the process. Like, it doesn't matter if you smoke papers, leaves, what blunts, whatever you're smoking, you're still adding in an extra element. Because technically, smoking, it doesn't matter what you're smoking. Right. It's never good for you. It's never good to
be on my head or something.
Yeah, like it's never good to combust something and inhale that combustion into your lungs. So you want to ideally combust the least amount of material as possible if that's your preferred method for smoking. So in my opinion, water pipes are the best because it's filtering out a lot of the carcinogenic stuff and giving you like a smoother smoke. Mm-hmm. So I think that's the best way to smoke.
Smooth and healthy.
Yeah. So that being said though, I most often smoke camos.
Okay.
Which are made out of like chamomile leaves.
Mm-hmm.
I think that gives you, out of all the smoking methods, like as far as like papers, cigars and stuff goes, I think those give you the smoothest smoke.
I'm a backward person, but as far as comparing to like some of the camo, I like Mike Tyson's product. It's
too expensive.
Shout out Mike, I know you're getting
Yeah, shout out to Mike, but it's too expensive. $5 for one rack? No, thank you. You get 5 of them with a camo. No.
Man, tell them. Leading off the conversation. Leading back into what I was saying, a lot of people will kind of have that conversation as far as with the backwoods or certain raps, adding unhealthiness to it. What are some conversations I think that people kind of ignore or we don't have as far as negatives to cannabis?
Like we mentioned earlier, some people think cannabis can do no wrong. Mm-hmm. They think like, it's just the end all be all. In fact, you can have negative effects from it. And I think it's very important to educate people on those negative effects as well, because it's not for everybody. Right. Some people really smoke it and get paranoid. Mm-hmm. And I've had perfect example, there's a strain called green crack. I didn't name it, but it's called, it's called green crack. I don't like that strain at all. Yeah. That strain makes me feel every single negative stereotype that they've ever said about cannabis. I'm paranoid, so if you tell me it's green crack, I'm not fucking with it. And ironically enough, it's supposed to be a sativa.
Hell no. Yeah.
It's labeled as
because it is
like a pure sativa.
It is the indicas that do give you, when you do have those experiences where you kind of like that paranoid feeling. It's usually indicas for me.
Yeah.
When I'm overly high.
And again, that's why I say it affects everybody differently, and it's really important to know your body chemistry. Because no matter what you're doing, it could be cannabis, it could be psychedelics, it could be any so-called drug. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? I don't really consider organic things drugs. That's why I do the quotation marks.